You know, if I was charged with a crime in Washington State, I'd want to know what mistakes to avoid. I mean, so many people can try to tell you what to do, to try to tell you to go get an attorney, or give you lots of just general advice. But what are the mistakes to avoid if you're charged with a crime in Washington State? So if you're charged with a crime or you're just interested in the criminal law, this is the video for you. My name is Lance Fryrear, and I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. And I've been defending people, along with my team, from crimes in Washington State for more than 20 years. And I was also a prosecutor for 7 years. So I thought I'd put out a video about what are some mistakes to avoid, because hundreds of people call us every month, and there's all different types of misperceptions about what to do if you're charged with a crime and how it works. So in this video, I'm going to go over that, and I'm just going to jump right into it. So what do I think the number one mistake is if you're charged with a crime, that people make? And the most important and the biggest mistake is to think that they can just go to court and tell the court what happened and that it'll just be fine. Because, traffic tickets, that's what happens. You get a court hearing for a traffic ticket, you go and you explain that you weren't speeding or you did stop at the red light, and the court makes a decision and you go home. But that's not how criminal court works. Criminal court is real, and it's actually scary. The judge can do things to put you in jail, and there's an actual attorney who's trying to do bad things to you, the prosecutor, and you've been accused of violating a criminal law. So it's not something you want to mess around with. So the biggest mistake is just think you can go to court and talk about it, because the court won't even let you talk about it, because anything you say is recorded usually in most courts, and it can be used against you. So many times people will call us after court and they think, oh, now it's pretty serious. So now I at least need to talk to an attorney, and maybe I need to hire an attorney. So I think that the biggest mistake is just thinking that you can go to court and explain, or you should just go to court and say you're guilty. Those are things that you don't want to do. What's another mistake that people make when it comes to being charged with a crime? Well, one of the biggest mistakes people can make is talking about what happened to other people or on social media, things like that. If you're a defendant in a criminal charge, anything you say, we've seen it on TV, anything you say can and will be used against you, right? And that's how it actually works. If you're in the jail and you called your mom while you're in the jail and you talked on the phone about what happened, that prosecutor is going to get that tape. Prosecutors, police are going to check out your social media at times. So I've seen it happen. And if you started to talk about, hey, I was really drunk that night, or I stole this from somebody, that's evidence they're going to try to use against you. Anything you tell anybody besides an attorney in a private situation can be used against you. There's a few exceptions. Sometimes an exception for a spouse, depends on the charge, but just play it safe and only talk to an attorney about the facts of what you're accused of. What's the third mistake that I see a lot out there? I think the third mistake is just ignoring the summons, right? Hey, if I just ignore this, it'll go away. Or, hey, I just don't need to deal with it. What happens if you don't go to court? What happens is that you get a warrant for your arrest. The next thing you know, you're pulled over on a traffic stop and you're going to jail. Your car's getting towed, it's embarrassing, or someone's coming knocking on your door and they're arresting you for not showing up on court. And what's another corollary there? Well, sometimes an officer is going to say, hey, we're going to send you a court date in the mail, and then you never think about it again. Maybe you don't get the mail, or maybe you're out of town. So if you think a court date's coming, but you don't know what it is yet, either hire an attorney so we can watch it for you. We know how to do things that the general public doesn't, because that's what we do. Or at least, contact the court every so often if you know the court is going to be in, or type your name into the Washington court's website and see if you see any court dates. It's not perfect, doesn't have everything there, but just don't forget about it. Either not going to court when you know you have to go, or just forgetting the thing ever happened. I can't tell you how many people call us once they learn they have a warrant, or call us after they've been arrested and now they need someone to deal with it. And, life got in the way. They just didn't think about it, right? Another mistake that we often see is not hiring an attorney. Well, I mentioned, it's easy to say that, but really the most important thing you can do in a criminal case is pick your own lawyer, right? You might have to pay for the lawyer, but you need to pick your own lawyer. Public defenders can be really good, but the problem is they didn't choose you and you didn't choose them. So that attention that you need may not be there. And a public defender has a really hard job. If you think about it, us private attorneys, we might have just a one-time negotiation on a court calendar with a prosecutor. We can point out that your case is special. We can point out about how much we know about you and how we personally think that you're okay and that you're learned from the situation or that you're innocent. A public defender is in a tough situation. They might have 25, 30, 40 clients on the same calendar. You can't be special then. Not every client can be special. Just think about it. It would ring hollow with the prosecutor. They also can't give the attention they want to. And I like public defenders. They do a great job. They're a great source of knowledge. And some have a bad rep because there could be some people that would say otherwise here. But in my opinion, the main difference between a private attorney and a public defender is we get to choose each other, right? Our firm has to think we're good to work with you, and you have to think we're good to work with us. And it's a whole different ballgame. And of course, why do you need an attorney? Because there's an attorney on the other side who is putting out a version of the facts that you probably don't agree with, and is trying to, hurt you, trying to take your freedom. Maybe you're going to lose your job. So I'm going to move into one more, the fifth most common mistake, and this is a little bit advanced, but I'm glad you stayed for the end. I think, at least even for our own clients, the biggest mistake that you can make in the criminal court system is caring too much what's in the police report. Because the police report was written by police officers in a way to justify their decision to charge you, if you're a defendant, with a crime. So it's not written in a way necessarily where they're trying to actually find the truth. They've taken a position, and the position may seem logical to them, and it may be logical, but they've taken a position and they're not necessarily putting out both sides. And so how do human beings work? Well, if we focus really detailed on what's in the report and point out, prosecutor, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, well, the prosecutor's a person too, and they're going to dig their heels in, what I call oppositional reflex, and say, yeah, well, that's not what my side says, so we'll see you at trial. And while it's sort of interesting to think about, wouldn't a trial be great? That's what we see on TV. From my experience, nobody wants the trial. When you go to trial, which is what we can do, but it's generally a last option because you lose control of the outcome. So tell your attorney your version of the facts, which is true for you, and hopefully is true. But don't worry too much about how the attorney uses that. If the attorney is really good, they know that what mainly moves cases is people. The prosecutor has to make a decision, but the prosecutor has to feel heard. The prosecutor has to be dealt with in a way where they're respected. And usually we're going to have our clients do some things so we can whisper about the facts to the prosecutor, not scream about them. Because if we get too upset with the differences in the police report, that's not actually how you win, at least not what I think. So let your attorney know what's wrong with the report, but try not to lose any sleep over it. I always say that's the prosecutor's Bible. It's not ours, right? We are going to try to put our own version out in a way that it will be effective, in a way that could be heard. So I hope you found this video useful. There's a lot more mistakes, but those are the top 5 that came to my mind. And if you're in a situation where you need some help on a criminal matter, you need some advice, feel free to give my office a call. We've been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years. We'll do our best to listen to what happened, let you know what we think, and if it makes sense, get involved to try to help you out of your case and get your life back to normal as soon as possible. We'll be there for you. Thank you.